Hi, I'm James from the Turner Guitar Studio in Leduc in Morinville and at turnerguitar.com. Now, today I'm going to be showing you how to restring a classical guitar. We're going to be restringing a guitar with the Savres 520Js, which are my favorite guitar string by far for any guitar under $1,000 really. Give it a lot better volume and tone. So we'll be doing that. Now, the other tools you will want to use, ideally, would be something like the Planet Waves Pro Winder, which has a bridge pin puller, which we won't need for the classical, string clippers, which we will use to cut off the strings in the first place, and which we will use to cut off the excess at the end, and then at the bottom end, a winder in order to tighten up those strings much faster than you could just by using your wrist, and that's extremely helpful on a classical guitar. The other thing would be a clip-on digital tuner. You could use one with a mic as well, but these will go right off the vibrations, be a little easier to get it in tune quickly. And then a lighter, and I'll explain what you'll be using that for in a bit. So let's get started. Okay, so for tying on the strings, you have two different basic types of string. You have your plain ones like this, and then you have your wound silver ones. For the plain ones, the one tool I mentioned before you might want to use is a lighter, and that is to melt the tip of the string. This one already has it melted because it's a Savres 520J. But some won't come with them melted. And then to do the tying, you will want to interweave them all. So I always start from the highest E string, then we move on to your B string. The only problem with these melted tips is or pre-melted tips is you can't melt it once it's on the guitar, so you have to push them through this way. But here's the string going underneath this string so that you can get this one caught, and this one I left enough slack on it to go past two more holes so that I have two strings gripping each string. Then to tie it, I wrap it on the far side of its own line, wrap it underneath, and go underneath again. So it ends up just being twisted twice. I pull it tight, making sure I get enough slack to go through two holes again, and continue on from there. To wind on the strings, I'm starting with my first high E string. You want a fair bit of slack on these so that you can wind it around the pin quite a few times, but to save some time with winding, you don't have to do it the whole way. I end up cutting off some on these thinner strings. The wound ones you will want to try to avoid clipping if you can. So I poked it through the hole. I come up the opposite way it went in, so the string wants to pull this way, so I go opposite, down through the hole again, pull that tight, and then I have my slack here and my slack on this side. Then, using my string winder, I wind the pin. I try and go on the inside of the string sticking out, and then I cross over to the outside of the one loop, and then once I get to the next hole, I cross over again, so that I'm gripping the string by itself on either side of the peg, and I want it to end up on the outside edge so that the string doesn't cross over. So to help you see that, I have slack here. String goes onto this side, the one over there, of the winds. And I don't want to wind it up too tight because at this point nothing's gripping my bottom end. So you do these all one at a time. I already have pre-tied some of the strings at the other end. So here I have my slack again, poked it through the hole, loop it up on the opposite side, poke it down through the same hole it originally went in. Again, I have slack on both sides. When I'm winding this one, I want on the same side as well. So again, I tuck it on to this inside edge, or outside edge I should say, of the line, cross over, and then once I reach that hole again, I cross the string back over, and then I wind it until it's tight. So now I've gotten all three of these strings on, but they're still loose so that they don't pull through anything before they're all tightened. And now we're moving on to the wound strings. Now these again are Savres 520J, so they come with this kind of bendy end, which makes it easier for tying. Some string brands don't do this, and some only do on certain strings. If it doesn't, you'll just have to work it a bit harder. On this one though, because it does, you simply put the string through the hole, get it underneath the other two strings that were going past it, and then find a length that works where you can tie it around like that. So how I'm tying this is, in these, it generally works on the Savres to the edge of the loose part. But you tie it by wrapping it around, from my perspective, the close side of the string is always where you want to wrap it around on any of these. Wrap it around the close side of the string. Go back down around, instead of looping underneath twice, which you can do if you really like the look and consistency of it. I prefer this way. You just loop it straight back, get it over that back edge so that it catches behind the line, and then go straight left, and then you get this nice straight tie. Now this won't hold without tension on it, so you do have to keep tension, so I will show you at the other end. So now for the first of the wound strings, you want to go like with the others, down through the hole, around, back through the around the opposite way. But this one we don't really want to cut, so you want to get about a centimeter or so of sticking out, bend that the opposite way it went in the hole, and then again we're going to do a crossover. Now I want the string to end up on this side, so I'm going to cross or go on this side of that sticking out string, then cross over once I reach that hole, keep winding until I get to the next hole, cross over again, and now I'm stuck on this side without having to have wound that string across itself uncomfortably. So you get a really nice tight wind, it looks really good, and will hold very well. So you just wind that up until the string kind of holds its own, and I don't have to hold that back end tie anymore. I continue tying these on in the same fashion, but I don't want to have too much excess. So this one I'll have to pull back a little bit farther. It won't go all the way to the ends. But again, I wrap it around the far side of that string. Make sure all the other strings are inside. Pull that tight. Tuck it in behind itself, past the edge of that bridge. Pull tight again, getting that straight. To see this a second time, we will go down through the hole, back up the opposite way, and return it through the hole on the same side it went in on originally. Again, giving a little bit of slack like that, and then pulling it tight. And then once I have it tight, this time I want to get on this side, so I wind it on to the side of that string, go across the hole, cross back over, and stay over there, winding it until it's tight. For the last string, the thing to keep in mind is that this one isn't going to be tied underneath anything else, so you want to be extra careful that you tie it on well. But you don't want way too much slack so it's kind of sticking off the end and looking bad, so you just tie it as much as you need. Try and get the stiff tip of the string. If it is one with winds, it will keep a stiff tip. Try and have that meet right at the very edge, and that will be your best grip. So you loop it through, around the close side, back, and down past the back edge, right with that stiff part sticking straight out there. For the last string, you may not be able to fit it through its own hole. I haven't tried on this guitar, so we'll see what happens. Yeah, that won't go. So you will want to keep a little bit extra length. It may slip a little bit. Keep that bent the opposite way. It's very important that it's bending the opposite way that it's going into the hole. And then you want to end it up on this side. So you want to wind on the outside because we don't have it going through. We're already on the outside. So you wind it around the outside first and then the inside. And then do an extra take just to get extra grip. Go across the inside edge, this side of that string sticking out. Oh no, sorry, it's missing. So you want to go on the inside edge here of this string sticking out twice to get extra grip. And then keep winding it on. If it did fit through doubly, you can just loop that on like normal. Now, I go back to my side I want to end on, and I still, again, didn't have to hop over my own string making it look bad. And I have a nice tight grip. Like so. So now you can see the finished product. We have these all tied on with the loops, all linked through underneath each one. This last one is tied by itself, but it's quite thick. As long as you get that stiff end, like I mentioned, behind the back end, it should be fine. Nice straight loops for these. At the top end, these three here are all right to the ends, and then these ones here have that little bit of excess. We'll clip that off in a second. And then the next step is just winding these on, and this is where this string winder really comes in handy. is for tuning, because these strings will stretch a fair bit, and you can really speed up your process. And then everything will keep stretching, so you will want to just tug on the string like this. Keep your thumb on it so it keeps low, and just try and bend it up a little bit. Give it a good tug where you're not going to get it to slip through, but it will stretch it out a bit, and you can really make it a lot easier for you to keep tuning it later. You won't have to let it settle for as long. So already it's settling into place a fair bit, but I'll stretch those strings out a bit more. And I'll just get it in tune one more time. At this point we will clip off the excess. Just make sure you don't clip your original string. So now that I have those clipped off, it's ready to go, and you can start playing. Hopefully you found this video very helpful. Thanks for watching. If you want to find out more stuff like this, more instructional videos for songs, other types of repairs, check us out at turnerguitar.com or subscribe. And thanks for watching.